Hello there.
Hey, my awesome blue stars.
No, I meant to say it.
Anyways, welcome back to your Not So Daily, exposing your classmates. Now let's start with the first story.
Yeah, and stay out. Oh, hello. It's Sambia again. You might remember me from the chaotic college classmate stories I shared last year.
Oh yeah, I remember you, buddy. Let's show and tell for those who don't know.
Welcome back to Bluebean's Not So Daily Exposing My Classmates. I'm Sombri, and today I'm going to talk about my troublemaker or, in proper words, rule breaker friends. I'll be focusing on them one at a time, because trust me, each one has enough stories to fill a whole book. Back in 2022, when I was in 8th grade, my old classmates and I were split into different classrooms, so I was alone.
How could you be so rude?
No familiar faces, no one to sit with. I had no choice but to make new friends. Luckily, it didn't take long. I met two people, Noah, and although everyone called him Ollie, and they quickly became my closest friends, they both sat with me at the back of the classroom, and we clicked faster than I expected. Our friendship began in the most random way. They caught me drawing on my phone one day and asked if I could help them finish a drawing of Nightmare Bonnie from Five Nights at Freddy's. I agreed, and that was the spark. From then on, we started talking more, hanging out after class, and eventually sharing personal things. At first, they seemed like genuinely nice people, but the more I got to know them, the more I heard things that honestly left me stunned. One day, Noah casually revealed that he was a smoker.
Brother, what's that?
I remember staring at him like, wait, you're 13 and you smoke? I couldn't wrap my head around it. I asked him why he started, but he never gave me a straight answer. The only thing he'd say was that he wanted to quit someday. For a while, it seemed like that was the worst of it, until about 4 months later, I learned from another friend that Noah had gotten involved in unimaginable activities, things I honestly never thought someone my age would even consider. Let's just say it involved sneaking into street alleys to do certain services. And apparently, some of it even happened in school. Our friendship started to fall apart. Eventually, Noah stopped talking to me and Ali altogether. You know what the reason was? He claimed we were the problem, which still confuses me to this day. Like how? How are we the problem? Now you might think, well, at least Ali wasn't like Noah. Oh no, Ali was exactly like Noah. Maybe even worse. I didn't see Ali for a long time, and then, on New Year's Eve, I started hearing rumors about him. People said he was involved in illegal activities.
You scared the living poop out of me. Wait, how did you get those? Aren't you like in 9th grade? Wait, tell me how you got it. Wait a minute. These are jelly beans. Who has the real ones?
I didn't want to believe it, so I pushed it aside. Fast forward to when I started at a new school. I was shocked to find out that Ali was a student there too. We were so happy to see each other after years apart, and for a while, it felt like nothing had changed. But as time went on, I learned the truth. The rumors were real. Ali even talked about the things he did as if they were completely normal, almost like it was something to be proud of. Recently, things escalated. Ali got caught up in trouble with the police after being seen hanging around his group people who were also known to use bad substances. He happened to be near a dealer in a park, and while he didn't get arrested that time, it was a close call. There's a lot more I could say about both of them.
Well, this time I'm back with a new story, one that's much heavier and possibly triggering. So consider this a warning. If these topics make you uncomfortable, I suggest you skip this one. The school I attended had its fair share of issues, but one incident stood out as the most disturbing of all. I'll call it the list incident. It all started on an ordinary school day. Rumors began circulating about a teacher allegedly being involved with a student. Screenshots of their private messages were spreading everywhere: group chats, DMs, even random social media accounts. At first, no one knew if the screenshots were real. People whispered and shrugged it off as another exaggerated school rumor. Nothing seemed confirmed, at least not yet. That changed when the parent of one student, emphasis on one, stormed into the school. He showed up furious, shouting accusations and demanding to find the teacher involved. The situation escalated fast. He even threatened the school counselor and Parisi teacher, Mr. Jeffrey, claiming he had a weapon. Panic spread instantly. Students were crying, teachers were trying to lock down classrooms, and of course news flew across social media within minutes. My friend Noah and I kept assuming it was all some huge misunderstanding. Everything seemed too chaotic, too sudden. But the next day brought the truth more than any of us were prepared for. I didn't go to school that morning. My mom had heard about the armed man incident and refused to send me, and honestly, I don't blame her. While I was home, my friend Allison called me and told me to turn on the news. The moment the broadcast came up, my stomach dropped. The rumors weren't rumors at all. The teacher had been involved with multiple students, not just one, from 8th graders all the way up to seniors. Many of them had agreed to it in exchange for better grades.
Say you swear.
Well, except for the student who eventually exposed him, the main victim behind the leaked messages. That detail alone was crazy to me. Meanwhile, my other friends who were at school told me the campus was unrecognizable. Journalists, reporters, and news crews were everywhere. Some students were being pulled aside for interviews, some giving statements, others just trying to get out of the drama. Honestly, hearing all that, I was relieved I hadn't gone. My anxiety would have been through the roof. About a year later, the teacher was finally found hiding in the far north of the country, way beyond where any of us lived. He was arrested, and for the first time since the whole ordeal began, it felt like there was some closure. Justice, overdue as it was, had finally caught up with him. And that was the end of the list incident, one of the darkest chapters in our school's history, and one I'll never forget.
Hi, I'm Anna, and today I'm going to be exposing a guy. Let's just call him Mark. Mark was a new student at my school. At first, he was nice and all, but after a few weeks, he started to change. He began getting into trouble at school, and my friends disliked him so much because he was a troublemaker. I also hated him, but there was nothing we could do except act nice to him. One day in class, we were taking notes during a math lesson, when suddenly Mark stood up and walked to my friend Amy's seat. Amy looked up from her notebook and said, "What do you want, Mark?" Mark replied,
"Oh, I just want you."
And then he made the ugliest Riz face known to mankind. Amy felt very uncomfortable and told the teacher, but the teacher didn't even care and told her to leave Mark alone. It seemed like the teacher didn't care at all, and that made Mark get worse day by day. After summer break, I was walking into class and then, boom, Mark hugged me. You all might think, oh, it's just a hug, but he hugged me from behind and put his hand on my belly. His hand started to slide down my bell. Consequently, like a normal human being, I kicked him from behind and he fell. But just my luck, a teacher saw this. Mark started fake crying and told the teacher nothing but lies. I tried explaining what really happened, but the teacher wouldn't listen, and I got detention. This behavior didn't stop. He kept doing this to me when no one else was around.
I became really uncomfortable, but every time I told a teacher or the principal, they didn't believe me because of his so-called innocent act and face. Everything changed one day in the locker room while I was changing out of my PE clothes. Mark walked in, but luckily I was already done changing. He said, "Oh, Anna, you look really beautiful." Not in a normal tone, but in a creepy way. I didn't know what to do because he was blocking the door with his big back.
He got closer to me, trying to touch me like he always did. But this time he tried to take off my shirt. I tried to push him away, but suddenly my friend Amy walked in, saw what was happening, and screamed a teacher's name. The teacher rushed in and saw what Mark was about to do. Thank the Lord. He finally got expelled from the school. I was so happy that day. That's it for my story. Bye.
Hi, I'm Jinko, and I'll be exposing my classmate Fernando. Here's a little secret about Fernando. He somehow failed art class. Yes, art. This all started back in 4th grade. One day, Fernando did the unthinkable. He farted. Not just a normal one either, it changed the air quality of the room. I swear the smell travelled at least 10 miles. Kids started gagging, the teacher opened a window, and no one ever forgot it. That moment became legendary. Unfortunately for me, I had to sit next to him in class after that. We would talk nonsense about random people, make up dumb stories, and whisper about absolutely nothing important. Sometimes I honestly thought Fernando had anger issues, because one time he got so mad that he threw his Chromebook straight into the trash can. Everyone froze.
Oh my god! Wow!
The trash can did not deserve that. Sitting next to him was honestly hell, and somehow, he always targeted me. He got me to demerits by lying to the vice principal, and I'm still salty about that to this day. Justice was not served, but Fernando had more stories. One time, he tried to be the class clown by telling a joke so bad that even the quiet kids sighed. Another time, he raised his hand to answer a question with full confidence only to be completely, painfully wrong. The teacher just nodded and said, "Interesting," which somehow made it worse. Then there was the aftercare story. My friend told me that Fernando once pooped his pants, and the janitor had to clean it up. As funny as it sounded at first, I always felt bad for him. Stuff like that is embarrassing. Fernando just cleaned himself up, went on with his day, and never complained. Not once, looking back, Fernando was kind of a mess, but also kind of tough. He messed up a lot, got into trouble, embarrassed himself more times than anyone should, and still showed up every day like nothing happened, not even whining. So yeah, Fernando was annoying, chaotic, and stressful to sit next to, but he was also weirdly unforgettable. Every class has a Fernando, and whether you like it or not, those are the people you remember the most.
Hiya! My name is Astro, and I'm going to be exposing myself and my friend, let's call her Estella. In gym class, we were playing a snowball game. She got kinda mad at me in math class, so my rage-baiting self decided to throw a ball at her to make her even more mad. Then we started jokingly fighting. Our gym teacher somehow didn't care, which is wild. After that, people started shipping me and my friend. One girl said, "You guys are getting real touchy," and I was like, "What?" The funny thing is, my friend is straight, and I'm not. Then everyone started following me around saying, "I ship." It was funny, but I don't have a crush on my friend. We're just silly like that. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Hey y'all, call me Kiwi, okay? So during the last period of my class, we basically had free time. All of the boys were jumping around and acting crazy, and the Spanish teacher was grading things, so he didn't really care. But these two boys, I'll just name them Ryan and Sam, were really close together. They loved playing Gimkit, and yes, I also think that it is a good game, but one day they went too far. They were playing it again, and I sit behind Ryan, so I saw everything. Ryan was higher on the leaderboard than Sam, so Sam decided to go sit on Ryan's lap. Ryan didn't even mind and laughed like nothing was wrong. Then Sam started bouncing on his lap. I don't know if my school is just that stupid or just plain freaky, but yeah, that's the story.
Hi guys, I'm Dreamku. Way back in 3rd grade, I transferred to a new school. I made a lot of friends there, including Selena and Shayla. Both of them are important for this story. During the 2nd semester, a new girl joined our class. Her name was Julian. At the time, I was super into drawing, and it turned out she loved drawing too. We became friends pretty quickly. She was shy and introverted, but in that forced, "I'm going to make everyone think I'm so mysterious" kind of way. Fast forward to summer break, a bunch of us were playing a Roblox game together, and Selena was being a total tryhard and teaming up against everyone. Naturally, we got mad at each other over it. Then came the first day of 4th grade ACA, my personal hellhole year. I decided to sit next to Selena because I wanted to apologize for our little Roblox drama, but apparently, Julian didn't like that at all. She got mad, really mad. A few days later, she slipped me 2 notes. One of them just had the word "die" written over and over again like a billion times. The other said, "I hope you unalive yourself." I stared at it and just wrote back, okay." Honestly, I wasn't sad at all. In fact, Selena and I were laughing about it later. We told the teacher what happened, expecting her to deal with Julian, but guess what? She forced me to apologize to her. Like what? How does that make sense? Somehow, after that, we became friends again. Don't even ask me how. Then we stopped being friends. Then we became friends again. It was this on and off thing that I honestly don't even remember the full details of anymore. That's the end of my story. Sorry it's hard to remember all of this. Anyways, see you guys.
Hello, my name is Stara. So recently, we had a new substitute teacher at our school. Everyone started calling him Mr. Clean because, well, he was bald and kind of looked like the guy from the cleaning product commercials. When I first saw him, I thought, maybe he's a nice guy. But oh boy, I was so wrong. The first time I noticed something strange was at lunch. I was in the lunchroom, just minding my own business, when I saw him across the room. He looked right at me and smiled. I didn't think much of it at the time, so I just went back to what I was doing. Then, about a week later, my friends told me some shocking news: Mr. Clean had been fired. I asked, wait, why was he fired? And that's when my friend explained that he had been texting someone and sending them questionable pictures. On top of that, I heard from another friend that he had touched her hands in a way that made her uncomfortable. I was honestly disgusted. The thought that a teacher, someone who's supposed to be trusted around kids, would do something like that still creeps me out. I hope I never see him again, because now I have major trust issues when it comes to new teachers.
Hi guys, I'm staying anonymous, and I will be exposing my classmate, let's call him Queso. Here's how it all started. I was walking to my class when, out of nowhere, Kay started screaming at me for framing them. I just stood there, completely confused, wondering what they were even talking about. At the time, my friends and I had just been chatting about random silly things, but now they were furious at Kay for yelling at me. My friends started shouting back at Kay, and eventually, Kay just ran away. Later that day, I was in the cafeteria when I saw Kay bullying one of my friends. I immediately went to tell the teacher, and Kay ended up getting sent to the principal's office. After that, I walked up to my friend to make sure they were okay. They said they were fine, but I could tell it had shaken them a little. A few hours later, still the same day, Kay came right up to me again and started yelling, this time for telling on them. I told them to be quiet and walked away. They started to follow me, but my friends stepped in and blocked them. The next day, things got worse. That's all I'm gonna say for now. I'll explain more later.
Hi y'all, my name is Eva. So, I will be exposing a classmate called R. R and I are enemies, and everyone and all the teachers who taught me. And one day, R made up this show called The R Show, and I think I kinda changed it because R wanted to roast me. Then I said, alright. Sure, I chuckled, knowing that I'd win. Basically I wanting to say, nah, I'd win if you know the meme. Then I said to him, you go first. He said his roasts, and after he was done, I said, I'd rather oof than be with you. Everyone looked back and forth at me and R. They all clapped for me, while there was a teacher who was walking outside checking if everything was okay. She was actually Chinese. Like fully so, she didn't give a crap about us and was also on her phone. Continuing to the roasting part, R called me black, as I was clearly white. By the way, I'm Chinese, half British. I looked at R like I was just thinking about if R was colorblind or something like that. I replied, but I'm white, but R ignored me and said,
I don't care.
I looked at him like I was about to rip my voice box out and replied, in confusion. Let's skip to a few days later. Now, you're still probably thinking what the heck happened to the R show? Welp, to your information, a boy called F changed it to the R getting roasted by Eva show. I giggled as they told me that. Lol, I said while laughing. At lunchtime, I was washing my hands until I saw my enemy, the stinky dumb R. I asked him, aren't you supposed to be sitting down? He replied,
Monster.
Then I said, who the tofu are you calling a quacking monster, beach? By the way, I said that in my head. I actually just replied, I was just asking, geez. Then, I continued to my hands in a cutesy, very demure and mindful way. Then I went back to my seat. This all happened from November to December, by the way, if you're wondering. About the exposing my friends, let's get to it. It was October 31st, the day of the most exciting day of the term. School picnics. We went on a coach and weird-looking long a bus. I asked my friends, La and Kay, if I could sit with them, but Kay said no. I said, WHAD? So, I sat with and another classmate. A good few minutes later, a whispered and told me,
Hey, Eva. I heard Law and Kay talking about you, I think.
My eyes widened, knowing that she never lies. I asked Law and Kay if they were saying negative things. They said no. I was traumatized, not knowing whether they were telling the truth or not. I was scared. I felt guilty. I didn't understand myself. The mixed emotions and feelings were too much for me. I placed my head on the handle, or whatever you call that sheet, being the delusional I am. Sorry if I'm being rude, but to be honest, I entered my villain arc, so yeah. I might do more stories, to be honest. This was so fun to write. That's the end, y'all. Bye.